Good morning. How are ya? How have you been doing? So, let me ask you a question. Has overwhelm ever stolen your joy? My name is Karen. I help explore their joy, to increase their joy in their business, in life. So let's be joyful. So, I got a true confession. I'm a little tired this morning. Actually, I'm really kind of tired. Already had a coffee. Likely will have another. If anyone's happened to be on Facebook land yesterday, you happened to notice me popping up live, doing a very quick um, Facebook live on this topic, actually. And I did it as part of this workshop, this virtual workshop from this attraction marketing platform I'm on, which is why it was 2.5 days of workshop. And when I say workshop, I mean workshop. Most workshops are kind of sort of the other way around. I'm just checking Facebook. There we go. I want to see your comments. So when I say workshop, I mean we really were doing the things. So even though I come on live all the time, a lot of people don't. So they wanted to give folks practice on coming on live. So that's where we were. So that's why if you happen to have caught my live yesterday, that's why I was there. But kind of back to the topic at hand. So has overwhelm ever stolen your joy? Because I will, and how I thought of this topic, because I was overwhelmed all weekend. I've been to this workshop before, but this time, maybe because I was in a different headspace, I took it in on a deeper level, and I found myself at points just totally overwhelmed by what they were feeding me. And I got a lot of information, like a lot, designed to and will change the way I look at my business, the way I do my business. Um, it was pretty amazing actually. And if you're ever interested to find out more about what I was doing, yeah, just drop me a PM or let me know that you'd like to know a little bit more about what this workshop is all about. Not expensive at all, but it was totally a game changer. But I found myself that there was like I can remember points in both. It was Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. And I remember there were points in both Saturday and Sunday where I would literally just sat in my seat. I felt myself glazed. And I felt things just going whoomp, whoomp, whoomp. And I just couldn't take in not one more thing. Did that ever happen to you? And it doesn't have to be in a workshop, and it doesn't have to be around business. It could be around anything. It could be around work environment. That used to happen to me on a pretty regular basis. The boss would come over and dump a bunch of stuff on my desk. That was in my early days before I became an audiologist. And then once I became an audiologist, it would be patient. And then, heaven forbid I was a little too slow, there'd be a line of patients waiting for me. And yeah, a little bit overwhelming. And then patients say, well, I have to be someplace. How long are you going to be? And I'd be like, there are people ahead of you. I'm doing the best I can. Being overwhelmed. And that really happens, and it happens more so this time of year even, because again, we have so much to do, right? We have our families, our jobs, other responsibilities, and now we're preparing for the holidays. So it might be even more overwhelming to us than typical, though, there are plenty of times the rest of the year where things can get pretty darn overwhelming. And we know that overwhelm and joy cannot reside simultaneously. There really is no way for us to be overwhelmed and joyful. Now, let me say this in a slightly different way. There's no way for us to be joyfully overwhelmed. It just kind of sort of can't happen. You're either overwhelmed or you're joyful, happy, joyful, relaxed, calm. But you kind of sort of can't be both. So what did I do during my workshop? And what I found to be helpful just in general when I'm overwhelmed, because, and don't hate me for saying this. Don't, please don't. Sometimes there's really a reason to be overwhelmed. There's a lot coming at you at once. Sometimes it's just a habit. That was true for my husband. For years, stuff would happen, and I'd be like, what's wrong? I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. Until he realized it was a habit. It was a story he was telling himself. Oh, more than 4 things are happening at the same time. I'm overwhelmed. And he was. He actually was. He looked snowed under. He would totally look snowed under. I could see it in his face. And like I said, there are times that overwhelm is absolutely the most appropriate thing to feel in the moment. You don't have to stay overwhelmed. We can actually pass through it pretty quickly, even with everything going on around us. So the first thing I always say when it comes to this kind of stuff is awareness. Awareness. We need to be aware that we're overwhelmed, that we're overwhelmed. Not that the situation is overwhelming, which it might be, frankly, or people are doing things to us, and if only things were a little bit different, if only people would behave in a slightly different manner, we wouldn't be overwhelmed. And whoever just popped on, please let me know you're here. Give me a like, give me a heart, drop a comment. We're talking about overwhelm stealing our joy. So how do you feel about that? Have you ever been in a situation where you felt overwhelmed and hence not so joyful? Yeah, so being aware, just being aware that we're overwhelmed in the situation can go a long way, a huge way towards helping us to navigate through it. Second thing, breathe. Breathe. So often when we get stressed and overwhelmed and upset, anxious, whatever other adjective you want to use, we hold our breath. Breathe. 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 Deep breaths lets the body know that you're okay. Sends a signal to the brain that you're okay, that you're safe. And once it gets that message, the body can calm down and we can better navigate the situation. It's counterintuitive, I know. I used to do what I used to do a lot of is trying to plow through, and that's kind of the instinct. It's like, oh, I just got a wall in front of me, I'm gonna plow through it. Where in reality, this, if we can breathe into it, we actually are able to pass through that wall easier. It is counterintuitive, I know. But the next time you're overwhelmed, how about just trying that? I'm like, oh my God, this is like 3 things are happening. Take a breath. Take another breath. Oh, okay. Good, all right. So that's something that you can also do. So being aware, taking a breath, both really good things to do if we're feeling overwhelmed. A third suggestion, ground yourself. Because what happens when we are overwhelmed? We get in our head and we start hearing all the stories about how things are difficult and how we can never do them and what have you. I mean, those are the stories I tell myself. Oh, this is so hard. Oh, this will never work out. And oh, I'm a this. And oh, I'm a that. And oh, I should have known better. And does this sound familiar? Ground yourself. There's a couple of ways to do it. What I like to do, the quickest way to do it, and hence what I do often, is I bring my awareness down to my feet. And I actually feel the ground underneath my feet. That connects me to the floor. And that I find to be the quickest way to ground myself in the present. Because in the present, when we are fully present, is when we have the most options. And the more options we have, the more we're able to navigate through anything. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Drop them below, PM me. I have some interesting news coming out. If you're not on my mailing list, some people already know about it, full disclosure. But a lot of people don't. They were just notified in my email. I just sent out an email this morning letting my email list know some really cool information, how they can be involved. So if you want to be able to get all my information, be amongst the first, sometimes you're actually the first. Sometimes not. It kind of depends on how quickly I write my email. Full disclosure, I need to get faster at that. But amongst the first, if you want to be amongst the first to know what's going on in Karen world, hop on to my email list, KarenBromberg.com, sign on, and in all likelihood, I'm going to be doing a follow-up email so you can find out what is going on in Karen world. Woohoo! Very exciting. So, have a great day. I will see you on the next one, and bye for now.